Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. Not only happy Friday, happy Good Friday. It's a little special today. Welcome, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me take this down so that I can see. Say hi to me. Let me know who's in here. I can only see numbers. So say hello to me. Let me know where you are from. If you are a first timer, I want to say thank you. Thank you for those of you who are coming back for the replay. Please put hashtag replay. Please share this video out. I appreciate you coming in and being a part of tonight's show, being a part of, if you are coming back for the second or the third or the fourth time. I thank you for joining me. It is an honor. Hey, Angel. It is an honor to be here on this platform to share the news, share what God has for our people. And so for those of you who do not know me, let me start there. My name is Tamara Johnson. I am the creator of Make It Rise, Rebuild Intentionally and Strategically for Effectiveness. My goal, my mission, my vision is to create a movement where we are changing the view of how society has defined marriage, right? My goal is to show and share how God originally designed marriage to be. And so what he's done is given me different vehicles. And this is one. This talk show is a different vehicle that he has given me, where I have invited different couples or singles, those that have been divorced, to come on and share their real experience, right? So it's real couples with real experiences. My goal is for you to see that it's not just you that is going through, that has gone through, that's going to go through, because either you've gone through it, you're in it, or you're about to go through it, right? And so these conversations, these discussions that we have here every other week is to help encourage you, right? To keep pushing, to keep going, to keep doing the work so that you can make marriage work. Or if you're just dating with a purpose, it's going to be some things coming up. I have a singles series that will be starting mid-April, and it'll go all the way through June. We have some amazing topics that's going to come. I hope that you will come back and sit with us. Even if you're married, there's still going to be some things that will be shared, and you can share as well in the discussion. Give us some tips in the comments. I would love to have you. So again, I say thank you so much for joining us tonight. 2 weeks ago, we had Mr. Alvin Eddington that was on. Powerful, powerful, powerful minister. He's a father. He is a husband, right? And we were talking about the umbrella effect. So these 2 weeks, this week and 2 weeks ago, we're talking about the umbrella effect. We're talking about being the covering, and we're talking about being covered. So the husband being the covering his wife, and the wife being covered, right? And so we had him on last week, and he shared 4 P's that I'm going to remind us of. He said a husband should be a protector, should be a provider, he should be the priest, and he should be the prophet. And when he talked about being a protector, he made sure to say that he wasn't only talking about if someone was messing with his wife or looking at his wife, that he physically fight them, right? He made sure that he said that, although that is a part of it, but he was really talking about the spiritual aspect of protecting her. Sometimes protecting her from himself, from the husband himself, protecting her from herself. Sometimes we can put ourselves, women, into positions where we're just going out of control. We just moving. And we need that head. We need that covering to step in and kind of slow us down a little bit, right? But he has to be in communication with God in order for him to be able to do that, be able to see that, and be the, also he said, to be the provider. To be the provider is to not only financially, right, but provide her with the communication that she needs, the type of communication she needs, the type of love that she needs, right? Everyone needs something completely different. So every household has to be personalized. And I say this all the time, that the way that God designed and created marriage to be, that is the foundation of it, right? But then when we get to go into each individual home, we have to make sure that we are designing it to fit our relationship, our marriage, right? So for me, and this is just an example, if I was married, maybe my husband want me to support him with just, with his, I don't know, a bike club that he may be in. He may say, babe, all I need you to do is just give me a minute on Sundays. Let me go ride with the boys, or Saturdays. Let me ride with the boys for 2 hours and then I'm coming back, right? That's what he need from me. But somebody else, their husband don't ride bikes, so that's not necessary in their home. And that's what I mean. And I'm just trying to make it real plain, right? I don't want us to have to second guess anything that's being said on this platform. So I try to break it all the way down to where we can all get it and it's relatable. So what is good for my home may not be good, or I'm not going to say good, may not be necessary or needed for your home. So we have to personalize it, as I said. His third P was being the priest, right? Praying over, praying for. And so he has to do that whether she come to him and say, babe, can you pray for me or not? For example, and I'm going to give these examples, okay? Doing what I do, I'm always pouring into other couples. I'm always pouring into wives and husbands and preparing myself, fasting, praying so that I'm ready to do things such as this. And so my husband will have to know that even when I don't ask him to pray for me and cover me, I need him to do that. That's something that I need him to do, because as I'm pouring, I need someone to fill me up, to pour back into me, right? And then the last P was to be a prophet. So he has to be a prophet. He has to speak life to her. He has to share with her what God is sharing with him, right? And so if he has all four of those P's, which I thought were great, if he has all four of those P's, protecting, providing, he's a priest and he is a prophet, then he got the bulk of it, and God can work with that. And so those were some of the things that Alvin shared with us last week. And so I am going to bring our guest on. She is a wife. She is a mother. She has a lovely spirit, and she's going to come on and talk about what it is to be covered, right? And I'm going to bring her in, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We just going to jump right on in here. Hey, Tosh. Hey, Tosha.
Hi, Tam.
Thank you so much once again for being a part of tonight's show. Again, I do not take it for granted. I'm really grateful that you took the time out of your busy schedule. You could have been doing anything. You've shared some things with me as far as what you were doing today. You could have said, you know what, Tam, I'm not going to be able to make it. But again, as I said before we got on this call, I think we had church before this call with that prayer.
Man, you ain't kidding.
Before we got on this call, I said, I'm grateful that God has led me to ask people who are committed to the commitment, who's committed to what it is that they're doing, right? And even if they are committed to that, they are a woman or a man of their word. When they've said yes, it's been yes. No one has called me and said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it. They've came through. And so I'm so grateful that, again, you are here. This is your second time on the show. The first time you were on with your husband, and we were talking about men being soft. Is that really a thing, right? And so I say thank you. Thank your husband for allowing you to be on here with me tonight, taking a little bit of time from him. And so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in there tonight. Again, we're talking about what does being covered look like and how should a wife respond to it. But before I go there, Tasha, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Just share whatever you want to share.
Well, my name is Tosha Lewis. I am here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am married now. Be 14 years in September. I've been with my husband 20 years. I have 3 children. Have 2 beautiful sons and a daughter. And I'm just a person who loves being married. I love it. I thank God for marriage. I thank God for orchestrating that thing. I really do. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm the biggest advocate behind that. I'm with you, Yeah. I will give and share whatever I have if it means it'll help somebody.
Yeah.
Especially married people. If it will help you make it to that next step, I'm all there. I'm an open book. I'm an open book for helping people.
Mm-hmm.
some of our testimonies are meant to be help stepping stools for other people, and I'm the person that's just willing to share. So that's my story.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. And one thing that I always say for me personally is that my transparency is someone's road to recovery, right? Mm-hmm. Many times we don't want to be transparent and we don't want to talk about the things that we have encountered or experienced, right? Because it can feel like it's a little embarrassing, or, people are going to talk about us. They're not going to trust us. They're not going to believe in what it is that we are advocating for, especially for me being an advocate for healthy marriages and then having to go through a divorce in front of everybody and having to share that, having to go into another relationship, dating with the purpose and come to conclusion that it just didn't work, right? And so that can be a little discouraging, not for me, but for the person that believed in something that I am sharing. And so I just got to trust that my purpose is what God is giving me, right? Where before I wanted to throw in the towel and I wanted to give up, but God said that my purpose, my status had nothing to do with my purpose. And so regardless to if I am married, single, if I am dating with a purpose, whatever my status is, that's what it is, and so I am here if I am going to share and help one couple or I help 150,000 couples. I'm going to stand until God tells me to sit down. So Amen. I thank you for saying those words. But like I said, we're going to just jump right on in here. The first question I have for you, Tosha, is, in marriage, what would you say our role is when, what is the role of a wife when he's not covering, when the husband is not being the provider, when he's not being the protector, when he's not being the priest or the prophet? What does she do? What does a wife, what should we expect her to do? Or what does God expect her to do? Forget what should I expect her to do, because, if it's
Tam. You're so silly. So, okay, so off the top right there, you have to eliminate what you would do in and of yourself after the equation. Because this is a God orchestrated thing, it's always about what God would have you do. It ain't ever going to be about what you would do. Because when you do it just in and of yourself, then you're operating solely without God. Because when being that this thing God brought together, when he's not where he should be, you married, when you said I do, you said I do to everything. You said I do to his bad, I do to his good, I do to his weakness, I do to his strength, I do to his laziness, I do to when he's forgetful, I do to when he's strong. You said I do. And you said when it's bad, I'll do it. Lord, you said for better or worse. You said when he's sick, I'll do it. You made a commitment. You made a vow, but you was in covenant with God. You said, I do. And when he don't, your job then, and we think sometimes this is the least we can do. When you put prayer on him and cover that man, that's the most you can do for him. You can make all the rules. You can tell him what you want him to do. You can say what you think it should be and what it look like. But when you that word of God, when you pray over that man and the things you pray over him is where your role is at when he's when he's not doing and he's down and whatnot. Those things I asked God when there was a time I seen that my husband really was at his lowest. The world didn't know, the family didn't know, the friends didn't know, but I knew my husband was at one of his lowest points. So I asked God, how do I pray? How do I cover him? So I started to research the scriptures and I started looking at all the powerful men in the Bible and all the mess they had been in. But look at the strength that came from each one, the strength from David, the strength from Abraham, the strength from Samson, just the strength from all these men of God that got even in all their mess. So as his wife, my job was to cover him through prayer. Stay there. Don't try to have the answer, but there's a listening side to prayer. You pray and you pray these things, then God's going to give you instructions. He's going to tell you some things to do. then you just
Yeah.
have to be obedient and listen and then follow that when he's
Yeah.
telling you how to be what you need to be for him. But the most the woman can be is pray over her husband.
I like
Sometimes you might have to let him sleep
Mm-hmm.
and put your hands on him.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're the closest thing to his ear. So we are the most powerful weapon to him, is us. And so when we take that and use it the right way and in the things of God, he'll be all right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. There's so many things that you said that we need to unpack. So one thing that you talked about is honoring your vow, honoring what you said I do to, right? Take your eyes off of what you see and put your eyes on what you know, right? Because here's the thing. The commitment is not to that man because we're fickle. Right? Man is fickle. One day we're good, the next day we're not. 1 minute we're good, the next minute we're not, right? But when we are committed to what we said I do to, right, that should be our driving force. And you talked about praying being the most powerful thing that we can do. And cover our husbands and being the most powerful thing that we can do, being the closest thing to them, being able to speak in their ears, understanding the power that comes from that, right? So you can either speak life or you can speak death.
Right.
It's a choice.
Right.
But when you are in communication with God, he is going to give you the words to use. He is going to give you the body language to use. He's going to tell you when to just be quiet. He's going to tell you when to just smile, when to just love on him, right? Because there are certain times when he don't need to hear it, right? Because he's not there. And if you are not in communication, if you're not communing with God, if you're not fasting, if you're not praying, you could possibly take the wrong turn, and that will turn that entire situation upside down, a way that God has not caused for it to go, right?
Right.
You talked about when he's asleep. You said even when he's asleep. Now, hear me when I say this, because I thought about it when you said it. Of course, I see you in bed. I see you in bed, and I see the husband and wife in bed, and I see him sleep, and I see the wife putting her hand on him, right? But sometimes, and this, I think this would be very important, sometimes we have to just assume that he is, even when he's walking, that he is asleep to what God is trying to have done, right? While he is sleeping, you, wife, need to be awake. You need to lay your hands on him while he is sleeping. While you guys, I don't care what it is you're doing, watching a movie, when you're holding his hands, don't let it be so innocent. Speak to God for him while you're holding his hands. I've even told wives while you making love to your husband, you need to cover that man in that thing. Sex was made by God. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So even in the thing, make it rise. The name of my business, make it rise. Look, pun intended for the married folks. It's all purposeful, right? Everything that I've done, everything that I'm doing, that I'm allowing God to do, is orchestrated to help build and create and show and share the original design for marriage. So yes, I do talk about sex in marriage, right? I do not say yes if you're dating or if you know that that's the person that you're going to marry, that it's okay to have sex. You're gonna marry them in 2 weeks anyway. I don't say that. That would be your choice, right? But on this platform, what I share is what the word says.
That's right.
But I thank you so much for saying that prayer is the most powerful thing that we can do in covering it when we don't feel like we're being covered by our husband. Right. And here's the thing. When I use the umbrella effect, understand that the umbrella is God. Right. So it's him that's covering the entire marriage first. And then he has ordered the husband to cover me, the wife, and the children, the house. Right. But if he is not covering, you still have a covering. You're not left out there in the cold. God is not going to allow us to be there when we're being obedient. So being obedient is what's covering you. Your obedience is going to be the key of keeping you covered. So we can't put ourselves in a position of saying, well, since he's not being a provider, then, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that things get done. I said something earlier today about wives feeling or stepping out of order, when the husband isn't doing something the way that they want them to do it or the way they think it should be done, or maybe he just doesn't know how to do it at all, right? We can sometimes talk down to our husbands, making them feel less than. That doesn't encourage them to reach out and learn, maybe reach out to another male that can assist them, that can mentor them, that can help them. But when we are making them feel like I got it, like I got it, right? It doesn't help. It doesn't build him, right? And again, as we talk about what we speak over them, we're supposed to be speaking life. We're supposed to be building them up and not tearing them down with our own mouths. So I thank you for letting us know that, yes, prayer is the main thing, the most important thing that we can do is going to the maker, right? And not going to his friends, not going to his mama, but going to his maker. Not that maker, not his mama.
Right.
Or your mama, because it's easy for us to go to our friends and our family and our pastors, right? My girlfriend, she wrote a book, Tanya DeFreitas, it's called You Talk Too Much. And then her second book is You Still Talk Too Much. Because when she was in a situation, a season in her life with her husband, that is what not only her husband was telling her, and I'm sharing this because she shared it on my platform before. Not only that her husband was telling her, but that God was telling her, you talk too much. Be quiet. Sometimes we have to just be quiet so that we can hear the voice of God, so that he can tell us how to move, so he can tell us when to move and when not to move, right? So it's so important for us to understand that praying over our kings, praying over our husbands is what's going to be the key to opening that door so that we can be covered the proper way. How important do you think, after all that we just said, how important do you think it is for a husband to understand that when he's not covering her, where he leaves her, what position she's in when he's not covering her?
I think it's very important. I think it's very important because sometimes you just have to come to a place to understand that they just don't know. They really don't. They just don't know. And they don't have the answers all the time. And sometimes you got to help them. We have to help them. And you have to be whole enough sometime to, I used to tell my husband this. There were times I would try to tell him how I felt about a thing. And he'll say, or I'll say, and you made me feel like this. And he'll say, no, I didn't. And I said, how you know that? And he was like, I didn't make you feel that way. I said, you can't tell me how you make me feel. Only I know how you made me feel. And you did make me feel that way. And so, but we did that for a long time. You made me feel this way. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, you didn't. So I had to ask God, how do I make him hear me? Because I need him to understand me. I'm not trying to get him to do it my way, but I need him to know how to see when he's hurt me or something has offended me or it made me feel a certain type of way. So God showed me how to talk to him. Most times it came not right when he said whatever it was he said. I had to wait. I had to wait. And then God said, now. Then when I got him in a point where he was able to receive what I had to say. At that point, he wasn't able to receive it. That's why he never could say or admit, I made you feel that way. Then when I would catch him at that time, and I would always be like, because I want to go in right then. I want to say what I want, hey, you made me feel this way. But I had to get obedient to the voice. Yes. I had to. See, because he might have made the error or made the situation, but I had to be obedient to get the result that I wanted. And he said, he told me to be quiet. So I'm mad because I want to talk. I want to say something, and I ain't understanding this. Yeah. But I said, okay, God. And I was quiet. And then out of nowhere, it can be in a quiet moment. And God would say, now. Holy Spirit would say, now. And then my approach now is even different than it would have been had I said it then. But then when I said it, he was in such an open place now where he was like, I never meant to make you feel that way. Had I did that an hour ago, that wouldn't have happened that way. Right. So out of our obedience, we have to, even though he's the covering, there's a position we play. there's a part that we have to play in his covering.
Listen.
You know, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to get to that place. I had to start being there. That came from hearing from God. That came from hearing from the Holy Ghost. You have to be in tune with the things of God to know how to effectively deal with him in that way. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no, most definitely it did. And, you know, the most important thing for me that you said was you turned that thing back on you, right? It's so easy and we're so quick to point the finger. And as I say all the time, we have to make sure that we are looking in the mirror at ourselves before we are looking out of the window at the husband or anyone else, right? What is it what can I do different, right?
Right.
How can I position myself? How can if I need to change my heart posture, if I need to change my way of thinking about this, if I need to just be quiet, how do I do that? And we're not going to get that by pointing the finger. We're not going to get that by blaming. We're not going to get that by trying to get them to see or get our point, right? We have to be quiet, be still, and understand that hearing God's voice comes with listening.
That's right.
Right? And you only know his voice when you listen to him. The more you listen to him, the more you can recognize his voice, because you're going to hear your husband, you're going to hear your own emotions and thoughts, you're going to hear the enemy, you're going to hear things you were raised to hear in your home, you're going to hear you saw on TV, you're going to hear things that you read in a book, right? Because we go to certain things and we press recall on certain things to help us to respond to things in our marriage that God has not given us the response to. God wants us to be quiet and hear from him. There's no way that we can go wrong with that, right? So we have a part to play in this thing as well, as you said. Just because we're talking about the husband being the covering, there's still a role that we as the wives have to play as well.
That's right.
We still have to be still. We have to be coverable, right? Then I cover you.
Listen, because you just said right there, you have to be coverable. Because a lot of women ain't. A lot of wives are not. And you wonder why you battling in your marriage. You're not, you're so out of position. You're up here. He can't cover you up here.
Listen.
Whew. So you're so right on that. Some of them are looking and then you're trying to take the lead and the load. But then you say you need to be a man. Well, he can't. Why? Because you took the lead from him. You've watered him down. Now you say you need to be the man of this house, and you need to be. Well, he can't. Why? The roles have switched.
Yeah,
and you can't be a man. You can't water him down and then tell him to be a man.
Right. And we have to also understand that there are times where in communication, effective communication, where he is going to give you the go-ahead on something, right? But he is going to give you the go-ahead on that. You're not going to take the go-ahead on it, right? There are going to be some things that you know that he does not know. And he's going to, if you are communicating it properly, like softly, right? Not trying to, force him to hear it the way that you need him to hear it. He's going to allow you to go ahead and handle that, right? But that is called teamwork. Sometimes we step so far out of position, right? Where he just say, forget it. Go ahead. You got it. You got this.
Right.
Go ahead and handle it, right? And also when he does it, if he does it and he does it the wrong way, let's say he does it the wrong way. We have to be careful with saying, see, I told you, we should have done it like. So, Tosha, if a husband and wife having a conversation and the wife says, babe, I think it would be best if we do it, this way. And he says, nah, we're going to do it this way. And they do it the way that the husband say, right? And it ended up being the wrong way. It just didn't work for whatever reason. What should the wife's response be to that?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because this is stuff that, like I said, just happened with me and my husband. I told him we were driving, going were looking for something, so we had to go to several different stores. Oh, we was trying to buy a couch.
Okay.
One store we go to didn't have it, but they said try our other store. Well, okay, cool. So we're driving down the street. I know that if we keep straight, it's gonna bring us to this highway that we know we'll be right where we gotta go. Well, he turned this way. That's taking us, the highway he gonna go to took us every bit of 25, maybe 30 minutes out the way. I said, why are you going that way? He said, because I want to. So, he said, because I want to. And in my head, I'm like, that is so dumb. I wouldn't say it to him. I just sat there and I said, that's dumb. So I'm sitting there because it's bothering me because I'm like, this is 30 minutes of extra driving. So I said, well, you went that other way, we would have been almost at such and such now. He said, but I want to go this way. I said, okay. He said, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I don't understand. So I really want to say something. So I'm like, okay. So then he turns on this other street. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking like, where is he going? Like now I don't even know where we at now. And I'm like, how we get lost from down, So we're driving and he just driving. And I know he don't know where he at. So, but I'm looking at him. I'm like, he don't even know where he don't even know where we at. So we just driving. So we finally come to the street. I said, okay, I know where we at. So I'm thinking, okay, if he gone across this way, we might have to go back a little bit, but we'll make it. Mm-hmm. He turns away again to go on further away. So I said, all right, I just got asked. I said, why are you going this way? He was like, I said, are you turned around? I said, pull over. He pulled over. And I put my hand on his hand. I said, baby, let me help you. I had to say it like that. So I didn't belittle him as a man that he really had got us lost.
That's good.
He didn't know where he was going.
That's good.
I would say, I told your crazy butt to turn around back there because I didn't want to do that. Why? Because I didn't want to shut him down as the lead because he was leading us.
Yeah, so come on.
I said, baby, let me help you. He was like, he just looked at me. I said, turn around, go back this way, and then make a left at that light's going to take us back to, where we got to go. He did it. And then it seemed like his attitude changed the rest of the day. It was like my baby got my back, not she made me feel dumb. Because I really played on that had I wanted to in my flesh. I could have played just like, well, if you listen to me and stop always thinking, but I knew he was lost. He just driving, he looking like this. And I said, he don't know where he at. And I just sit there like, okay. I said, I could have went there. I said, no. And that's how I have started dealing with him. When I sense he's trying to be the man, not trying to be, he's just wanting to be that man. I have caught myself saying, baby, just let me help you. Because I'm going to tell him something that's going to correct him.
Right.
But I let him see it as help.
Yeah.
I'm not here to retrain you and try to teach you how to be a man. But I'm trying to help you because here is something you just didn't see what I saw. And I know that way was going to be better, but you didn't see that. It didn't mean you wasn't prepared or you wasn't able. You just didn't see what I saw. But me being who God said I am, and I'm your help me.
I was going there
to help you.
Yeah,
I help you. I don't shun you for not knowing what it was. And so I help him. I offer to help him.
That's it. And your verbiage was receptible. He received it because of how you said it, right? You could have said the same thing, but in a different tone. You could have said the same thing with a different body language, and he wouldn't have received it. You said that you knew that he was lost. He knew that he was lost, right? Now let's think spiritually. If you're in charge, you're the head, you're the covering. If you feel that you are lost, you understand that there is no way that you can guide, that you can lead, that you can show, that you can direct your wife, right? Do you understand how frustrating that can be in the spirit realm? I'm not even talking about just being on the street lost where you can pull over and stop and say, okay, let me put GPS in.
That's right.
And it's an immediate response. I'm talking about being spiritually lost, but knowing what the word says that you are supposed to be for your wife, but you have no idea how to do that. Like, I don't know how to do it. I want to do it, but how do I do it, right? Having a wife that says, baby, let me help you. Having a wife that just showed him by being, right, who God told her to be, will help bring down that anxiety, help bring down the frustration. So the same way you just put your hand softly on his and you asked him to pull over, right? Because you needed his attention. You needed him to see and hear that you were serious about wanting to help him, not take charge, not get in front. You didn't say, pull over, let me get in the driver's seat, right? You said, babe, let me help you. Let me help you. Are you lost? Are you turned around a little bit? You asked him the question and allowed him to answer it, right? You didn't tell him. Although you knew within, you knew a long time ago, right? There is the riddle that one of the ministers in my church share a lot. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after, right? She came tumbling after. She just went behind him. She followed him. She followed her husband. She knew, I could imagine that she knew that this is not it. This is not the way, right? And some people say, so I'm supposed to follow him and I know that he's not doing the right thing. Okay, come on. Let's be real, right? So I'm not saying if your husband go out to kill somebody, you're supposed to follow him and kill somebody, right? We're talking in the spirit realm. So those things that we are buying to as Christians, the people in the world are not, right? So I'm talking to those that are under God's order right now. So if what you're doing is you're not following the man, you're following God. You're following what he told you to do.
You're following him as he followed Christ.
Follow him as he's following Christ, right? But a wife will say, but what he's doing, the choice that he just made, isn't a Christ move. That's not something, I know God didn't tell him to do that. What do? We're going to refer back to what you said, prayer. We're going to refer back to what you said, going to God, asking him, what do I do? How can I be the help in this? Because I know that this isn't the right way, right? I know that he's not able to do whatever said thing is, but where do I stand in this? What do I do, God? Because God didn't call us to be, walked over, gullible. When we use the word being submissive, women usually and men usually think I'm supposed to say, I don't have a voice.
Yeah, just shut up. Okay,
Yeah. So it's so much to this thing. It's so much to this thing. So when we are following our husbands, who we know is a little lost in whatever area it is, we should go to him and say, babe, let me help you. Let me help you, right? Don't get in front of him and try and take lead, try to take charge, but ask him if you can help him. And not only say, babe, let me help you. Sometimes we have to show him or tell him what it is we're going to do to help.
So, right? So let me stop there. So another example of that. See, one thing I want the viewers of tonight to know is this. I'm so 100 with what I'm saying right now. Okay. I ain't telling you what it look. I try to make it all cute, all this. I'm telling you what I had to get lined up for this to work in my marriage, because it wasn't always this way. I'm in marriage number 2. See, the first one didn't work because I didn't know. But God has showed me, he's taught me. I've availed myself to the word on how, Lord, show me how to be a wife to him. Show me how to do these things. So like you said, how do we show him? So you say he is what's the word you said it'll come back to me. But so my example was this. People, the woman finding it hard to say, so I should follow him knowing he ain't doing this right. My husband was not always a good, he didn't handle money well at all. He just didn't handle finances well. Okay. Well, a lot of that come from upbringing. Yeah. He never showed how to do it. Well, we both bumped heads on that because I had the same problem. Because I was never showed how to do it right. So we were bumping and bumping and bumping, trying to figure this thing out. Then I'm still saying you're the head. He's saying I'm the head. But then now I'm saying, okay, but you ain't doing this right. And you done spent this money and we got to do this thing and we got to do that. But my prayer was, God, show him how to do this. But what God showed me was he don't know how. But he showed me. But you are an organizer by nature. You have that skill. You know how to plan. You know how to do that. So what he gave me was I went and made this chart. And I broke down the bills. I showed a thing, just basically like letting us see what our income was, what our outcome was, what we have to take care of necessities, what wasn't important. I broke it all down. And I set it in front of him. I said, I want to show you something. He said, what? And I showed it to him. And I said, look at this. And we went over it. And I said, if we stick to if we make a plan and get a goal, and I just put something on his heart. I didn't tell him he had to follow it, but I was giving him an idea without me saying, you just let me do it and let me have it. Because you don't know what you're doing. I need him to be the man that I pray for. I need him to be that man. So I don't want to take that from him. I need you to get it. But I may have to help show it to you. That doesn't make him less of my covering or less of my provider because I had to show it to him. He used to always tell me this when we first met. He'll say, you teach a person how to treat you. Same thing. You teach a man how to provide for you, how to care for you. You know? And so that's what I did. So I created this platform to show him a better way on how to manage his money. I started noticing that it wasn't paycheck to paycheck no more. I started noticing there was still a little cash around coming in because he started listening. And I didn't even, this was something he started doing. I noticed he started leaving money in the bank. He wasn't just withdrawing it all. He started looking like I said, okay, I did it. Thank you, God, for that idea. Because the deal came to me. It didn't come. He gave it to me to get him because I'm his help.
That's good. You know what? You said something, you planned. That's the word you used. So you made a plan. You made a plan so that, and we think that only the man should make the plan so that we can follow it. But Habakkuk 2:2 said, write the vision and make it plain so that whoever sees it can follow, right? So if God gave it to you to share. Right. And he was available for it. Had you given it before or a certain way, stepped ahead and said, I'm going to take over the money because I know how to do it. I know that we'll be able to still have money left over. We'll be able to pay all the bills and, still have a little something to go to dinner or whatever that thing is. Had you done it that way, he may not have received it. So being available to hear God, whether you are the husband or the wife, will make the difference in your marriage. And so being able to do that for him, being able to make that chart. But first of all, you went to God and said, show me, right? And show him. And you said you prayed for the husband. You wanted to see the husband you prayed for manifest. And sometimes who that husband is going to become, who that wife is going to become, will only become that as a wife or as a husband. He's not going to become that as a brother. He's not going to become that as a coach or as a teacher. He is only going to become that as the husband because now he has been put in a position to go by a different set of orders, things that God has called him to do, right? So before we say I do, when we're asking God to give me this and give me that, and I want this, and we're writing these things down, are we being specific? Are we saying, when I say I do, I already want it to be rolling, right? Because who we are as fiancés, right? The prayer that we give, the prayer that we have before we say I do, it definitely changed after you say I do.
Come on. Yes, ma'am.
That prayer changed after you said I do. And so when you spoke about earlier about the vow, you talked about what did you say I do to, right? Many times we don't sit and break that thing down. We don't consider the other side of the vow. We don't consider the without money. We don't consider the bad. We don't consider the sick. We look at all of the things that make us smile, all of the things that made me say I will marry you, all of the things that make me say I do, right? Those are the things that we highlight. But it's not until we actually get into this thing, we get into marriage, where we begin to see, okay, the other side of that is real. It's just as real, if not more, than the
come on now. Because when the challenge comes, it's easy to be happy.
Yeah.
It's easy to function and you're happy. It's easy when everything is smooth and everybody's laughing. But what about them days you just can't get your thoughts together and you're not every day is not eye to eye. We're not hitting on all cylinders every day. Or you missed the mark. Oh, I missed it today, and yesterday was, we're not hitting it. So what are we gonna do? We finna do the walk around and be silent? We gonna talk to each other? Are we sleeping in separate rooms? Are you on the couch? Are we doing that? Right. All that stuff come into play because we don't think in the bliss of it in the beginning. We only see it's gonna always be happy. You better you done fooled yourself because it ain't gonna always be like that. It ain't always be like that. But are you willing to stay when the tough when it get rough? Are you ask yourself, are you really willing to stay?
Absolutely.
And here's the biggest part. Nobody knows what that rough gonna be. Nobody knows what that rough is gonna be.
Right.
I married my husband in 2008. In 2011, my husband had a massive heart attack. And I would never have thought we was experiencing that. And in 2014, he had a double bypass. And then a year after that, he had to go get a defibrillator put in. And during all this time, I was his caretaker. And he couldn't work. And I had to make ends meet. And I had to take care of the children. And I had to cook. And I had to get him to the doctor. And I had to see what we was going to do. And I was like, woo, man. But I told myself, I made a vow to this man. The vow was when even in his sickness, I'm going to be right there. And when I say couldn't nobody took better care, not one of them doctors, not one of them nurses.
That's right.
I was right there. I didn't have help. Nobody was trying to help me get them kids to the daycare. Nobody was giving me money. I didn't have food being brought to the house. I was pushing it. And there were days I had to walk out the hospital room and go sit in the hallway and just breathe. I was just like, man, I said, I never knew being a caretaker was this hard. But God gave me the strength to do it because I was committed that I'm gonna be right by this man's side. When he opens his eyes, I'm gonna be standing right there, and that's where I'm gonna stay, and that's where I've been.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's real good. And that is through sickness and in health, right? Again, you didn't know when you got married that all of these health issues were going to come, but you were genuine with your commitment, right? You were submitting to him and to God, right? And you trusted God to make provision, which is what he did. You said nobody came and offered you money. Nobody offered to take the kids to daycare. Nobody said, I know she's tired. Let me take the kids for a few hours, give her a break, give her a minute. No, but because you were committed to what you told God you were going to do, you were obedient. Because you were obedient, God gave you everything that you needed, and I'm sure and some, right?
All the strength.
Yes, and because of that, doors will begin to open. When we are committed, when we are obedient, obedience is a key. I tell people that all the time. Obedience is literally a key, like the key that you use to get into your house, your door, to come inside of your home. Listen, you don't give your key to just anybody. You give your key to people that you are going to trust on the other side of that door, right? If I give my key to a stranger, to come in and have access, come on, God, and have access to everything inside of my house, shame on me. God gave you the key. He gave you the oil for your husband because he trusted that key you were going to, the access that you were going to use, you were going to use it according to how he gave it to you. That you weren't going to take advantage of it in the wrong way, but you were going to use it according to how he told you to use it. So he trusted you with it, right? Many times we ask God before getting married, We're asking God, I want to get married. I want a husband. I want a wife. I want this. I want that. I want this in a husband. I want that in a husband. And God is saying, the key that I give you is going to grant you access to a whole lot of stuff that you aren't ready for, right? So some of us wonder, why is it taking so long for my king to come? God says, because you're not ready. We ask ourselves sometimes, God, why isn't he, doing this sad thing? And God says, because you're not ready. We waiting on you. It's not him. I haven't given him the approval yet because we're waiting on you. There's still some work that you need to do. And so that goes back to saying, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror at yourself. What is it that I need to do to position myself to be ready and available for what it is that I'm asking God for? Because we may ask God for surface things, right? But God says that surface thing comes with the core of something. He says in the core of it, you can't see. He says all you can see is like when we look at a piece of fruit. When we look at an apple, a nice red apple, we go in the stores and we pick a piece of fruit and it look good and it's shining, right? But we may bite into that thing, we may cut it, and the core of it, oh my God, the core of it is rotten. And God is saying that's the same thing that's going on with us. We can dress it up. We can shine it. We can look good. We can act the part. We can have an appearance of, but lack the power thereof. He says, and as soon as somebody cut it open, as soon as he gets sick, as soon as he cheats, he says, as soon as the money is gone, he says, as soon as he don't feel like having sex with you or she doesn't feel like having sex with you, we see the core that is no good anymore, right? And so God wants us to understand that he wants us to work from the inside out. The importance of looking good on the outside first and then in is not okay. Mm-hmm. It's not what he's looking for in marriage, right? And in a godly marriage. Again, I'm going to say it again, that the marriage under God has different rules and regulations and policies and procedures and expectations. There's something completely different from that the word say than what the world say. And that is why I have this platform, because my goal is for us to show and share what God says marriage is, the way that he designed it to be.
That's
so
right.
My last question before we end this thing is, what advice would you give to a woman who is accustomed to being the covering, being all of that, right? So I'll share for me, being married for 14 years and in that relationship for 18 years, right? Coming out of that and knowing that, okay, it's me. I'm the covering now, of my home, of my kids. I'm the covering. I have to go to work and do this. I have to pray over them. All these things that my husband should have been doing when we were married, I am now taking charge of that thing, right? So what happens when you have this woman that is about to go into a marriage, that's about to say I do, and this is what she does, she's the covering. What advice would you give to that woman to kind of pull back a little and allow the man that she's prayed for to cover her, right?
First of all, you got to be completely honest with yourself if you're ready to take that on. Because if you're going to let him be the head and the lead and take the lead and be the man, then you got to be whole enough with yourself to say you're going to be ready to release some things. Because what has happened now is you have put yourself in a position to be everything you need. Mm-hmm. You're all you need. Mm-hmm. And you're putting yourself in a position to fit him in when he don't. You're fitting him in your box. Mm-hmm. You gotta be willing to push all your walls down and say, I'm open.
That's good.
Meaning I got to be open and willing to let go of some things. Mm-hmm. The very first one is going to be that control. Because most times when you get in that situation, the first thing you do is, I'm in control of my life. Yes. And any man that come in and enter, there's a whole bunch of them that want to come that are good men, good godly men. But because you got to be in control of what your life is going to be like, you want to ration out all these rules, then they back up. Now you're wondering where he at. Why I can't get nobody? Why it seem like ain't nobody interested in me? Because you have put yourself in this box. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm in control of my life. Yeah. Everybody in my life got to fit my rules. So the very first thing you got to do is be willing to let it go. What are you willing to let go? What are you willing to let go to let God see? He's there, but what God is doing, because God is covering these men's heart. They got a veil over their eyes. He ain't gonna let them see you. Why? I'm not finna hurt this man's heart because you don't know how to let go of your stuff. Because you done accumulated stuff. And so now you so wrapped around your stuff, you got it going on. God could be saying, I'm going to give you double for your trouble. When you let that go, I'm going to give you the man and the double stuff. But you want your stuff. Now you're going to catch yourself by yourself. Here it is, years down the road, you still saying the same old thing. Why? Ain't going to change because you still don't want to let go of your stuff. And only you know you got to be real with you.
Yeah.
You got to be real with you. Am I ready to do this? Am I ready to put my kids here and put my husband where he's going to be? Or do my kids got to stay here and he got to get in line behind my children? Because God didn't say he was going to be, he was after your kids.
That's right.
We done got by ourselves now, and it's just me and my kids, and it's about me and my children. Now here he come. And he's ready to do what you want, but nobody comes before my kids. Well, you already just messed up the positioning.
Yeah.
You messed it up.
Yeah, that's good.
You messed it up. So, as a looking from the outside in, and I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying it wouldn't be an easy transition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't the exact same. But when I divorced, I had a baby right at the end of that marriage. So when we broke up, my son was probably 2.5 months. You know, he was a new baby. And we divorced, and it was wrapped. Then, before my son turned 1, I met my husband now. And when he came in my life, I have been praying about this man. I have been praying. I had my dad praying, and I was just like, I've never prayed for somebody to come into my life. I've never done that. I just let him come. But I prayed for this man. I told God specifically what I wanted. I want him to be able to do it. I want this. I want that. And my very first thing, I said, I want him to be a man of God. He didn't say he was going to be perfect and he was going to have all the answers and he was going to be able to do it all right. But I said, I wanted him to love God first.
Yeah.
When we got together, I was still, trying to figure it out or whatever. But when we got together, but I don't want. I'm gonna throw myself off. I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute. I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself where I was going with that. But again, like I said, you have to be willing to let it go, and release all the control, all the things you have brought yourself to a point of doing on your own solely to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Can I do it?
Yeah.
So you don't waste this person's time or yours. Got them barking up trees and running and coming and they thinking they getting somewhere. But because you already know you're not going to let these guards down, you're wasting their time.
Yes.
And they could be missing what's out there for them.
Right.
You could very well be missing what's right here for you, but you can't see it because you're worried about your stuff.
Yeah.
Your whatever you have accumulated on your own. Don't let you accumulated some stuff and you doing better than what you was. Oh, it's really, you know what I'm saying? He better come with a doctor's degree and all this stuff. You looking for him to be this, but you don't know what God have in that man. That together, when you come into him, y'all may create something so powerful, much bigger than what you would have ever imagined. But you gotta know, are you ready to let it go?
That's good.
Are you ready to let it go? Now, I know that you asked me this question, but I did want to touch on this if it's okay with you. The second was about me being covered as a wife, what that looked like. And I wanted to touch, I just really wanted to get this in there when you talked about the gentleman that was on there the other week,
Alvin, yes.
Alvin, okay. And I watched it, and I had to watch bits and pieces. I ain't gonna lie, because I just lost my father. Don't know. I just lost my daughter, and 2 weeks later, I lost my dad.
Yeah, no.
And so it's been a lot going on with me.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I really wanted to tag in because, like you said, I was committed to doing this.
Yes.
This night, and so I wanted to hear him. I wanted to get his insight on what it was being the cover. But something he said in there, I just wanted to, I guess, piggyback off of what he said, if you will.
Okay.
A lot of people think when you say covering, they're looking, they instantly think you're talking about this protector of if somebody try to step to me wrong or do disrespect me, oh, he got me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Right.
Covering, he take care of all the bills. He paying all the bills. Well, right now, unless you got a real good job, he ain't covering everything. It's taking everybody to work to help cover it. It's a team effort.
Right.
But he's doing his part. He's doing his part with what he got. That's good. Mm-hmm. But there was one thing that I had thought about. I said, I want to do a lot of people and take this into consideration when you talk about being covered.
Okay.
When a man covers you, when he really is covering his wife and his children, but I'm talking about the wife particularly, he's even cautious about the environments he lets you in.
Listen.
When he covers you, he's watching what you around, who you around, not just, or she hanging out with the girls. No, I ain't talking about like that. Mm-hmm. There are some environments he's not even going to subject you to. If you going over here in this family and you got and they all out of whack where you got the women leading and the men are on the couch sitting back with their thumbs in their mouth. We're not going over there.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's covering me. Why? Because I don't want that spirit on you. Because that's a spiritual thing. It ain't that, they like this, or they drink, or they do this, or they smoke, or they do it. It's a spiritual covering he see, because he knows that the spirit that's around them individuals and the way they're the heads in their house, these women, we don't need that division in our home, because that's division. That's order. And so when you talk about covering, he covers that. He covers your environment. He makes sure that he sets up things that when you've had a long day, let's go for a walk.
That's powerful.
When let's just go drive and look at some homes. He's putting something on your heart with him. Y'all putting some. He is covering your whole atmosphere at that moment.
Yeah.
We get up and or baby, let's say we agree to go to bed tonight. Let's pray. When he get up, let's go to church. He is covering you. Mm-hmm. He is setting the tone in the home that most times or not, if the man said it, the family will follow. A lot of times you get women out of control and they try to take the lead. You most time get them and the children, but the man ain't gonna follow that. Now you got a house divided.
Yeah.
So being a covered woman, I am that woman. No, my husband didn't always know how to do that.
Yeah.
But praise be to God that me praying, him praying, asking God to show him.
Yeah.
I now lean on this guy preached this when I was 17 years old. I'll never forget it. We went to school together. And it was his first sermon. And he preached on, his sermon was called The Folly of Depending on Someone Else's Faith.
Wow.
And I have gotten myself, I pray for myself, but I also depend on the faith of my husband as my lead, as my head to carry my family.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, well, you better pray and you better get us a car. You better, I'm not foolish with it. Right. But I am, baby, this is what we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. I need you to go to God on behalf of your family. Mm-hmm. I could have went. Me and the kids could have went and prayed. But this is our covering.
Yeah.
And our covering said, I got you now, Father, cover what I'm covering.
Right.
And he covers us.
Yes.
So go to him when baby, you need to talk to God about that. And then I get out the way. Mm-hmm. Because there's things that God is going to give him. Mm-hmm. He's not going to give it to me.
That's it.
I don't care how much I ask for it.
Right.
I try to start trying to chime in.
Yeah.
He's going to tell me, look, I'm not talking to you, but he's going to give him things that he's not going to give me. He's going to give him specific instructions to cover his family. And when he do it, I have gotten in a place where I say, God, I trust what you are doing in him. I trust what you are doing in him. I didn't say I trust him.
Yeah.
I know he took it to you. I trust what you are doing in him, and I let him cover. I don't. Sometimes I have no idea what the outcome gonna be, but I'm like this. What did you get from God?
Yeah, yeah. You know what, Tasha? I love that you said you trust what God gave to him, right? And that's the thing. When we know that who's covering us, who's protecting us, and again, not just the stuff, not just the tangible stuff, when we know that the person that's covering us is going to the coverer, right, for their answers, it puts us at ease, especially for a strong-willed woman, especially for a woman who she wants to help, but can sometimes be out of order. You know, sometimes she catch herself like, let me pull back a little bit, right? To know that he's going directly to the source, right? And whether you like it or not, but to know that, because we ask God for stuff all the time, and we don't always like his answer, but we trust him. So if we trust him to lead us, God, then we got to trust him to lead who he gave us, or who we allow to be over us, right?
That's right.
And in our obedience, God is going to bless us. I keep going back to that word obedience, because that is what it's about. It's about being obedient to what God told you, right? Sometimes we get selfish. If we become selfish and not selfless in our marriage, if we become selfish, we've already divided the home, right? Because if you're not ready to serve your spouse, you're not ready for marriage. If you're not ready to speak love language, you're not ready for marriage, right? Going back to sex, if you're not ready to, when he say right? If you got a headache, my stomach hurt, and I mean, it's just so that you don't have to. You're not ready for marriage,
right? Nobody's not being. We're not saying be foolish and you really have a stomach hurt in your head.
Right.
I'm talking about that's witchcraft.
Well, I'm talking about the manipulation that we use.
That's what I'm saying. I said that's witchcraft.
Yeah.
See, you're using that. You're using that thing God has given you for him as a tool to control him.
Yeah.
Or control a situation. Because your stomach hurt now, because you know what I'm saying. And
but you know what, Tasha?
Look at them doors you open when you do that too.
And they do the opposite as well. I'm going to put it on him good so I can get this bag, or so he can give me this money, or so I'll be able to go out with the girls. So you're using it, right, in the wrong way. I need to have a whole session on just sex, right?
Real
talk. Because when it's being used the wrong way, it's manipulation.
That's right.
Right? You're manipulating your husband or your wife, because men do it too.
All day. Yeah.
You're manipulating your spouse so that you can get a certain thing that you want, when you should just do it. Right? And again, as you said, we're not saying be foolish. We understand that there's times where you are sick and you aren't able to, or you may be dead tired, right? But what happens is effective communication. You have to have that conversation. It's not just no. I don't feel like it. Don't touch me, right? You know how many nights you're going to be tapped in the middle of the night, after going to work, after coming home, helping the kids with homework, after cleaning, and then you getting in the shower, and then the bed, and then as soon as you close your eyes, it's a tap, 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 right?
Amen.
Listen, I'm just saying, there's so many marriage, and we can't pick and choose which parts we want to give our all to. We can't say, I want to give my all to them. I miss being married. I'm not going to lie. I loved being married, right? I loved what came with it. I love the blessing that was over that thing, right? There's a lot of things I miss about being a wife, right? But what God has shown me over these past 2.5, 3 years is that I still need to be a wife. I'm his wife. I'm God's wife, right? And as I am being his wife, he is showing me what I deserve as a wife, right? He is showing me what I need to do. as a wife, how I need to cover my king, right? Because there's things that I need to do as well as far as covering. We think that, he's the covering, and so he's the only one I'm the only one that needs to be covered. But you have the umbrella, which your husband is the umbrella covering you. You're holding the umbrella, right? So that means you are covering him. That means that if you put it down, listen, there's so much to this covering thing. There's so much. So we have to be okay with knowing there's a role for us to play in this covering as well.
That's key right there. We have got to get out of this place of trying to think it's all. I've heard it so many times. We try to put it all on the man.
Yeah.
He's supposed to believe you, me. You got a role just as big. Your role as a wife is just as big. And you can fail and miss the mark just like he can.
Yeah.
And so you have to be prepared to walk in what I am so quick to, like I said, you talk about being covered. And I was glad to talk about being covered because me being covered also exposed where I'm not letting him cover or where I need to help him cover. It ain't always about him. I'm not out to attack him. I'm out to help him. I'm here to help him. That's all I'm supposed to do is I'm here to help him. And if it means help him cover me, I'm going to help him cover me.
Help. Expose. All these words you're using. Expose. God will expose us when we are out of order. If you are not where you're supposed to be, you are going to be exposed. There's no way around it. You're going to be exposed. And so only a fool wouldn't pull it together. So I thank you for saying it exposed you. It made you kind of check yourself, right? And every once in a while, we have to do those little tap-ins. Like, okay, I always tell couples, do a report card. Have a report card session. How well am I doing? What can I do better in? Right? Am I communicating?
And then start doing it.
And start doing it because we get stuck at the altar. We stay right at I do, and so we don't expect the person to change or us to change, right? But we are constantly changing. We're constantly moving. Things are not the same way they were when we said I do. So you have to always be a teacher and a student in your marriage, right? As he is growing and changing, you have to be there to learn it, to shift, to adjust. And then as you are moving and shifting and growing or whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be available to teach him, share those things with him so that you're not saying, oh my God, he should just know. Oh my God, we've been together for 20 years. How wouldn't he know?
That's right.
Well, maybe you need to speak it.
Well, let me help you real quick before we get off here.
Yeah.
Here's what you will know. We've been together 20 years, but 20 years ago, you ain't the person you are today.
Yeah.
So every day we all change. So no, I don't know this man by like the back of my hand. I don't know everything about him. Why? Because what he didn't like 18 years ago, he loved now. What he hated then, he loved then. My husband, when I got with my husband was a bona fide alcoholic. My husband is 12 years, almost 13 years sober. He don't know alcohol now. He did then. He don't now. He's not that person no more. And so you can't think, well, when we met, and now, and you 20 and 30 years in the game. No, you ain't dealing with the same person no more.
At all.
You got to be ready for change. And change is good when God is in it. All that.
Change is good. That's the way to end it. Change is good when God is in it. You just got to be available for it. So, Tasha, I want to say again, thank you so much. You guys, this is my cousin. I didn't say that in the beginning. I lost my uncle. I lost her daughter. I lost my niece. She lost her daughter and her father 2 weeks apart, right? No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks apart. And so I want to say thank you so much for being available. I know you have a lot going on, but you still came on to share with the people, and God, this is not going unnoticed. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. We're still going to, because she was talking about having a chapter of Make It Rise out there in Kansas City. Once everything pans out and things smooth out for you, I want us to get back in that and start talking about it and just see where we can go with it. But again, to the viewers, Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing your comments and saying your amens, and that's good. We appreciate it. For those of you that are going to come back for the replay, please put hashtag replay, share it with someone, and we'll be back. I'll be back next week with a couple that will be talking about they chose to get counseling. They chose it. They chose to get counseling during this pandemic because we know things have happened. Things have been going on, in this past year. And so it's not that something was going on, but they were being proactive and not reactive. And I thought that was very honorable of them. And so I'll have them on the show next week. But Tosha, is there anything that you would like to, any last words you'd like to leave with the viewers?
I just want to say thanks for having me to you. I love you. I love you dearly. You know that. And I'm so proud of you. I know that you're walking some things out. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to let God lead you. You stay strong. Don't worry about the naysayers. You do what God told you to do. It takes a strong person to walk past all the naysayers and all the stuff. Everybody ain't going to understand it because it ain't their story.
That's right.
So you do you. You do what God told you to do. You keep this platform open because I know it blessed me. And I know if we've helped one, we did God a good justice. If we've helped one marriage, stay together. So I encourage you. I really do. And again, to your fans, thank you all. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I said something that will help each and every one of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll have you back on somewhere down the line, you and your husband again. Yes. I love you once again. To the viewers, thank you for coming on. Please come back next week. We'll have a show with another couple, and after that week it'll be a single series. So for all you single ladies and single men, and even those that are married, please come on and share, the discussion, comment. You may help somebody. I appreciate you once again. We love you, and you guys, we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.